want to talk to you about an interesting picture that I ran across a few weeks ago that I don't completely buy into, but there is enough there that I think we need to consider what they talk about actually on both sides. So I want to talk to you today about the word narcissism and how often it gets used to dismiss people, and then how often real narcissists will dismiss actual pain. Okay, so a few weeks ago, and to be honest with you, I don't remember when, I came across this picture, I think on Instagram, maybe Threads, and it says this: 35% of women say they dated a psychopath. 42% say they dated a sociopath. Which, by the way, despite common arguments against this, there is no clinical difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. They're the same thing, literally the same diagnosis. 55% say they dated a narcissist. But statistically, only 1.5% of men are psychopaths, only 4% are sociopaths, and only 6% are narcissists. So either women are the unluckiest creatures alive, or they keep mistaking a man with boundaries, standards, and self-respect for a villain. Sometimes he wasn't toxic, he just didn't tolerate nonsense. And there is a lot of truth to that last sentence. I understand it's very dismissive, and some of you are ready to go get your pitchforks and your torches and come to my house. Don't, because that wouldn't go well for any of us. And I don't necessarily agree with the tone that this guy wants to take. The research, I couldn't find his research where it says 35% of women say they dated a psychopath. I did find one, though, that said 30%. So, I mean, that's pretty close. 42% say they dated a sociopath. I didn't find that one. Again, I found one just in the low 30s. Is 1.5, 4%, and 6% is pretty close. The diagnoses of percentage-wise is under 10%. It's a very small number. It is much lower than most people would want us to think, or most people want to think, because there is a benefit to being able to say, well, I dated a sociopath, I was married to a sociopath, etc. So I went and looked it up. I went, as a therapist, we do have some resources available to us. And I went and looked it up. And I do want to make the whole point of today is to make an understanding that there is a difference between sociopath or psychopath clinically and how we're using it socially. And at some level, I'm okay with that. I have a dear friend. His name's Will Clegg. He's an older gentleman. He's retired. And he makes fun of my short books for serious change. He commented on one of my Facebook posts. Oh, is it under 5 feet tall? Sorry, I couldn't keep my hands from typing. Will, if only we could remember that language evolves. And I get it, language evolves. These words are going to come into our society. But I want to talk about true numbers for a minute. All right? And first of all, there is no, you're a sociopath, psychopath in the DSM. It is antisocial personality disorder. And yes, I am one of the therapists that believes the DSM-5 is an absolute mess. I have very little hope that the DSM-6 is going to be any better. I think that we are destroying our field with some of these things that we're doing. But nonetheless, if we're going to use terms, we have to have some common level of agreement. And so here's the thing. Antisocial personality disorder in the general population is about 1 to 4%. Some research, so stricter research, would actually suggest that it's 1%. Narcissism, let's talk about this in general population. Again, huge distinction between narcissistic traits and narcissistic personality disorder. I've covered that once before. We're going to do it again just because I hear this so much. I see it so much in social media. Most people can be arrogant. I want to be clear on something. Most people can be arrogant, self-absorbed, entitled, defensive, attention-seeking, or immature at times. That does not equal a disorder. If your job is a people-facing job, you probably like attention. You find me a pastor of a large church, and I don't care what he or she says, they like attention. They like it when people respond to their antics. That doesn't mean they're narcissistic. It doesn't mean that they're not narcissistic, but we can't just base it off of that, right? A lot of really good salespeople are not narcissistic, but they really like attention. That doesn't make them NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. If you look at the research, roughly 0.5%, this is according to eMedicine, which you can go look up, 0.5% to 6%, depending on the study and population sampled. Many sources say it's 1 to 3%. In a counseling journal that I found that you'd have to pay for, They put it at 4%, but everybody agrees it's under 6%.